Should you watch that Korean drama with Korean subtitles, English subtitles, or with no subtitles? That's what we're gonna be talking about today. Now, it definitely was not this way just 10 years ago, but these days it's so easy to find Korean subtitles for everything. Netflix has them, Viki has them, even most major YouTube channels, YouTubers who speak Korean have subtitles built into their videos. You can find subtitles so easily today. And if you search this question about using subtitles for studying a language, you will actually find conflicting answers. You'll find some people that say, no, you should never use any subtitles, or only use the subtitles in the language you're learning, or just use English subtitles, and a mixture of those. So when I was researching for this question, it was quite confusing. So I was able to narrow down the most probable answer through some studies that I was able to find. There have actually been studies, yes, official studies done on this topic. Now, I'll list the links to 2 of those in the description, and we'll talk about them in a second. But first, let's just talk about the overall arguments for each of them. Use subtitles only in Korean because, immersion is the best way to go. You can check the subtitles while you're watching it and making sure that you're hearing things correctly. Another thing is you don't have to switch between your Korean brain and your English brain, so you can just keep your mind only in Korean when you're watching Korean content. The more exposure to Korean, the better. Or some people might say, use English subtitles because Korean subtitles aren't 100% accurate. If you read the subtitles in English, you'll be able to connect the words that you already know with the Korean that you're hearing, and you'll be able to learn more new expressions. Also, if you're watching it in English, you'll be able to follow it along better, you'll be able to enjoy the material better, and you'll therefore be able to learn better. And finally, some people say don't use subtitles at all. Subtitles, they're just distracting anyway, because you're really trying to just learn Korean, and you should get used to listening to it, not just reading it. Immersion is the best way to learn, so no subs at all. Just watch it exactly the way it was intended, with no subs, just like Koreans. So there were a couple studies done about this, and I'll link them in the description. The first one was about a group of Dutch students who are studying English. Now, they watched content with Dutch subtitles and the content with English subtitles because it's content in English. And they found through that study that the students who were using English subtitles to watch that English content learned much better than the students who were using their own Dutch subtitles to watch that English content. And there was another study done with people who speak English learning to speak Spanish, and they were watching Spanish content, and they would have them watch it with Spanish subtitles and then watch it with English subtitles. And they found that groups that were watching the content with Spanish subtitles learned it much better and retained the information better than those people who had watched the same content with English subtitles, and also even better than people who had watched it without any subtitles at all. So what we can take away from those studies is that if you're watching content in Korean, the best way to get the most out of that content is to use Korean subtitles along with that. So here are my tips for how to do that. If you're a beginner, the first time you watch something in Korean, if you can watch it more than once, the first time I recommend you just watch it with English subtitles. The reason being, if you watch it in English, you're going to understand everything that's going on. You're going to be able to follow what they're saying, and you're going to enjoy the content the most. Beginners simply do not have the grammar and vocabulary necessary to enjoy or to fully watch any sort of content that's only in Korean. However, if you can, the next time you watch it with Korean subtitles. And while you're watching it with Korean subtitles, try to remember the content that you saw written in English before, but now apply it to the Korean subtitles and try to see if you can match up some stuff that you already knew. Hopefully by doing this, you'll be able to more easily follow what's going on in Korean because you've seen it once already in English. Now, if you're doing this, you obviously can't watch a 3.5 hour long movie in English and then watch it again in Korean, multiple times. So this kind of format works best for short content, such as like maybe a short variety show or YouTube videos or maybe animation, something that's really short that you can watch multiple times. However, if you don't have the time to watch the same thing more than once, simply try watching as much related content in Korean with Korean subs as you can. For example, if you're a BTS fan, watch all of their behind the scenes content. Because if you watch the same thing multiple times, the same kind of content, the same people will end up using many of the same words over and over again. So that gets you a lot of repeat exposure to the same things. Another tip is to not focus 100% on the subtitles, because it's true that subtitles sometimes aren't accurate. So often subtitles don't match perfectly, so don't rely on them 100%. Another thing is to keep the TV remote handy and pause whenever you see a new subtitle or a character said something that you have no clue what they said. You can look it up or study it or whatever, or at least just pause it for a second to read it. So that way next time you see it, you'll be able to recognize it, even if you don't necessarily know what it means yet. And if you're already an advanced speaker, then just do whatever you want, because you can probably understand it without subtitles or with Korean subtitles. And finally, the other thing I wanted to say is don't stress if you're not able to watch Korean shows without subtitles, because this is a really common goal that I hear people have, is that they want to be able to watch Korean content without subtitles, but it requires a very high advanced skill in Korean to do. So if you're not able to do that, don't kick yourself. It will require a lot of Korean to actually do that. Look forward to that day, work hard, study hard, believe it'll come, but don't kick yourself when it doesn't happen tomorrow. What do you guys do when you watch Korean? Do you watch with Korean subtitles or English or both or none? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys again next time. 그럼 다음에 또 봐.